The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. I hope not good night, but you never know. So welcome to our webinar. So in this webinar today, we will talk about the Veeam Service Provider Console version 5. We'll probably also refer to it generally as the console, because of the long name. So let's continue. So who am I? My name is Pieter Verreken. I am a cloud solutions architect for EMEA. And Maxime, may you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Peter. I'm cloud systems engineer working together with Peter for the whole EMEA region. I joined Veeam in 2018. So we are mostly responsible for service provider business together.
Yep, exactly. So we are here to help you and also to get bring you some more information, right? Like about this product. Now on the webinar itself, classic slide. Everybody knows this. You are automatically muted. If you have questions, use the Q&A or the chat pane. And of course, maybe we can do a quick audio check to see if everybody can properly understand us, hear us, see us. So if you could just maybe write in the chat or the questions pane like, yes, everything is working, then it would be good. So we could continue. Yes, loud and clear, all good, perfect. Yes, we're looking great. Okay, awesome. So let's continue. So what's the agenda for today? The agenda for today will be first the history a bit of the service provider. So what are we doing with service providers? Just very quick slide. Yes, this is not a marketing webinar, but just a very quick slide on the service provider innovation. Then on the solution itself, the service provider console. What is this solution? What can you do with it? And then of course, what's new in version 5? And then we'll dive into a demo where we'll just show you all the good stuff that has come with version 5. Then we'll wrap it up, Q&A. Most probably we will do Q&A during the entire session. We have our colleague Ivan as well on the session to answer all of your technical questions, and Kate as usual in case there are any licensing or sales questions. So Maxime, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Peter. So guys, we are already 11 years in service provider world. In 2010, we have introduced the Veeam Pro Partner Service Provider program, which means that we have a pool of certified service providers who offer different services for our customers. So for Veeam customers, this might be backup as a service, disaster recovery as a service nowadays. Previously, it was just the integration with VMware Cloud Director for hosting service providers. In 2014, we have launched the backup integration for service provider. It means that pool of service provider could offer additional service for existing Veeam backup and replication customers by protecting data in the offsite location. The first version, the first edition of this Veeam Service Provider Console has been launched in 2016, and it's now known as Veeam Service Provider Console, but previously it was Veeam Managed Backup Portal. Later it was Veeam Availability Console. Now it's Veeam Service Provider Console. In 2018, this is when I joined Veeam, we have introduced and actually released additional service for our service providers, which is disaster recovery as a service. So it means that replicas could land, customers' replicas could land your data centers. In 2019, we have released the Pools Partner Portal for licensing management, and now we have introduced the newest version, which we will speak about today. It has lots of improvements, not only backup and disaster recovery, but we have also introduced new platform support and more licensing cases covered. So let's quickly recap what we have now in Veeam Service Provider Console. So today it's It's built for remote monitoring and management of your customers' infrastructure. It means Veeam Backup and Replication and also Veeam Agents. You can also create customers and build them through this console. Usage reporting workflows are simplified, and you can also use it for licensing and usage reports to generate some PDFs and send them to your Veeam representative for licensing, for payments, and other stuff. So multi-tenancy for backup as a service and disaster recovery as a service is also the case. So it literally means that we have a role-based access control for this portal, and you can delegate access for restricted customers environment only to your Veeam Backup and Replication and Veeam Agents users. And also we have a reseller role, which has also its own web page on this portal. We also have automation and APIs for third-party tools like ConnectWise or maybe Grafana. So we have also improved RESTful API in this edition. And self-service portals for resellers and customers are also here in Veeam Service Provider Console. So it's just the brief. Today, we have introduced Veeam Backup and Replication version 11, and with a small delay, we have introduced Veeam Service Provider Console version 5, which is actually a free product for service providers, so it doesn't require an additional cost. And yeah, for you, it's forever free since you use rental licenses and you provide backup as a service and disaster recovery as a service. There is no such thing like restore, but licensing management, RESTful API, so any information you could get from it, it's free for you. It's forever free since you use Veeam Cloud Connect. So the scenario of usage is very simple. We have 3 types of customers, so you can combine them. You are not restricted to it. Customers with Veeam Backup and Replication, which might have plugins for AWS and Azure, and Veeam Agents also for physical workloads or for unsupported hypervisors. Next customer would be just pure SMB. I would call it SMB, who doesn't have Veeam Backup and Replication, doesn't want to install it or buy Veeam Backup and Replication. So they just can handle their backup infrastructure with Veeam Agents. And you provide licensing for this both. Customer C has just Veeam Backup and Replication without any plugins, and they distribute Veeam Agents. In version 5, we have introduced Veeam Agent for Mac, and Veeam Service Provider Console supports now Veeam Agent for Linux, Windows, and Mac OS. As far as you know, we use TLS secure connection for all these workloads to distribute agents or to manage Veeam Backup and Replication or to manage licensing. So you don't need to build any virtual private network to these customers. We have cloud gateways who are connected to Veeam Service Provider Console and to Veeam Cloud Connect repository. And you can manage this installation, these types of customers from Veeam Service Provider Console. For sure, you will need the Cloud Connect server to provide the repository or maybe hosts for disaster recovery services. Yeah, we also have plugin library. So plugin library here means that we have very improved RESTful API, which supports Grafana and maybe some other third-party tools which you might have in your environment. We have also plugins for ConnectWise if someone uses it. Now let's switch to quick poll. We would like to know what tasks you are currently using with Veeam Service Provider Console, if you have it. So please just, yeah, the poll has been opened. So please respond to the question. If you are using it, if you are using it just for licensing management, if you are using it just for agent management or not yet.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what people are using it for today. I think most of the time I see it for license management. So let's see.
I usually see it, especially in UK, for disaster recovery purposes. So
all right. Yeah.
Just log in here and click failover now.
Yeah, that's actually a good one because there is not many partners actually who know that we have the failover plans also in the Service Provider Console. So it's kind of maybe a bit forgotten also. So yeah, very cool result actually. So
we have lots of new guys who doesn't use it.
Perfect. Yeah, so they're at the right webinar. So let's hope that after this they fall in love with it and they can get started with it. So I do see actually quite interesting. Only 8% is using it for agent management. So even though that's quite a big chunk of of what you could use a Service Provider Console for, and only 10% for licensing. So yeah, it would be very interesting if you say yes, of course. And it's not central licensing or not agent management, please put it in the questions pane or in the chat because we are very curious what you are using it for. So
yeah, so let's move on to what's new section. So what has actually been improved? So now we have in 2021, we have an expanded support for Veeam Agents. So previously we had agents distribution only for Windows. Now we have it also for Linux and for Mac OS. And it's very important feature for those guys who use KVM maybe and who deal with small customers. They don't need to install Veeam Backup on application. Now you can just create a tenant in Veeam Service Provider Console and distribute agent from it. And a hidden gem here is that license will be installed automatically. So you will see the usage of licenses right in this console. So now we support Veeam Agent for macOS, for Linux, and for Windows as well, like we had previously. Veeam Backup and Replication agents are also supported. Yeah, so let's move on. Cloud native plugins. So we have introduced several plugins recently, last year actually, which were standalone products. Veeam Backup for AWS, Veeam Backup for Azure. Now these products are supported in Veeam Service Provider Console. So there was a gap between the first product release and now this product have third and second version, and they are now counted in Veeam Service Provider Console. So management of cloud native plugins is now supported in the console. The next stuff is visibility of cloud storage consumption. So most likely those guys who use our products know that we have Azure Blob and AWS Glacier in place for Veeam Backup and Replication. So we have now a visibility of storage quota which is used by these workloads, and it's very nice that you could also bill for this feature. So bill for this type of workload of your customers. So lower storage cost means more business in the cloud. So expanded security features. Most likely some of you who are using it know that OTP passwords and MFA is very important nowadays. So to protect against some internal or external security stuff. So we have MFA supported now for the whole Service Provider Console on administrator level, on the reseller level, and on the customer level. So you can just go to the configuration and turn it on, and it will be turned on per customer or on the global level of Veeam Service Provider Console. API have been improved, really improved. So we have lots of features added in this release, and they are all supported in RESTful API. And also RESTful API interfaces have been additionally improved for the recent features. So it's now, I would call it now a simplified integration tool for all your external systems. And now, Peter, I will switch to the demo. Peter will switch to the demo. So Peter, please go on.
Yes. So let's see if everything going well. 1, 2, 3, and we should be good to go. All right, Maxime, you can see the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so then I hope everybody else also can see the screen. So let's jump into the demo. I mean, I saw some good stuff popping in the questions pane. So got some interesting conversations right there. So let's jump into the console here. So is this possible to read? Maxime, you can see it?
Yep.
Yep. All right, good. Familiar interface, I hope, right? But I saw that, well, 44% is not familiar with this product yet. So yes, let's see if afterwards you are more than happy to start using this and install it, right? So first of all, the agent management. Yeah, Service Provider Console is pretty well known to manage all the agents which you have maybe at your clients in different locations. Yeah, so let's say that you have some remote clients somewhere with 2, 3 servers or laptops, desktops. Maybe you want to back them up, but you don't want to put a dedicated Veeam backup application there. So that's where Service Provider Console will become very interesting. So when we have a look at the agents, familiar probably is already the Windows one. Yeah, so if you have the Windows one here, then this is how it looks like, right? So hopefully all the backups are working in your case, right? But if this is a lab, some things are not always powered on. So this is generally what you see, yeah, or what your client sees. And then in Windows, you can even have the name of your reseller, for example, right? Or you as a service provider can put your name there so the client sees this one, yeah? So this should be pretty familiar. This is the management agent in the end, the management agent that is used to talk to the Service Provider Console. So this is basically talking to your cloud gateway. You have a username and a password, which can be auto-generated. So it takes the login name and adds the host name of the machine that you're installing it on, generates random passwords, and up we have our connection. Yeah, so now this agent can be managed from the Service Provider Console. So when it comes to Linux, Linux we could already use. We could already install the Veeam agent for Linux on desktops or laptops, or most probably servers for Linux. So, and you could also use Cloud Connect here, but yeah, how would you manage those remotely? That was kind of a problem. Or as Maxime said, very good use case I see with a lot of service providers is KVM support, right? To provide some basic file level backups or so. This could be a great way. So how do we connect this one actually to the console itself? So first of all, we need to download the management agent. So the management agent is this one. Yeah. So if I click, I can here, or better, let's see. I always forget where I am. Yeah. So you could download the management agent here. Yeah. So, and you can choose whether you want to download the management agent for Windows, for Linux, yeah, or for Mac. And then you can put it on the server. Yeah. So for example, in my case, I already did it. So I have the package here already installed. So for example, if I just run the installation, it will give an error message because it's already installed, but it doesn't matter. So just so that you can see it. Yeah. So here we can see it starts the installation. Okay, the management agent is already there. That's great. Yeah. Are we finished now? No, we are not finished yet. Yeah. So if we have a look if the service is running, yes, service is running. So basically we have the management agent service and we have the Veeam service because I already installed the agent before. Yeah. So the next thing we have to do is configure it. Veeam console config. And these are all the options that we have available. So obviously you can automate all of these things. So that will make your life a bit easier. So here is the example of how we need to configure this. So we need to add our host name from our cloud gateways, right, or our DNS name. We add our company/tenant, put the password, validate the certificate, and then we can edit. Yeah? So then if I show the configuration, it should show something like this. Yeah? So I have added my specified gateway server, yeah, or I have maybe 1 or 2 or 10 gateway servers behind the DNS name, certificate is verified, username, everything is up and running now. Yeah. So if we go to the console now, then here under discovered computers, I will see this machine. So there is now a Linux discovery. You can see the type of OS that is installed there. And so now I can start doing things with it. Yeah. So for example, here I can restart the agent service. Yeah. If something needed, I can also upgrade it from here in case there is a new version. Don't forget that Service Provider Console can also be very interesting when it comes to troubleshooting. You can here download the log files so that you can, if you need to open a support case, then you can download them here, because otherwise you would have to go to the individual agent machine and go and look for the log files there. You lose a lot of time with this. And this one, it's a no-brainer. You click, a few seconds later, pops up in the UI, and you can start downloading and make that support case. Yeah? Your client doesn't have to know even that you have the log files, right? Or you need to give access. No, it goes super, super easy. So at this point, there are several things that we could do. We could make a discovery rule, because now we have, let's say, one leg into the client's infrastructure. We could make a discovery rule. So let's just quickly run through this. We have the company where this agent is configured. Yeah? So it says here master agent. So that's this one here, active, this version. Okay, looks all good to me. Location you can also specify, right? Put the name of the city or something, or name of the data center as you wish. Next, we specify the data, the discovery method, so network-based or from CSV file. Then, since I do a network-based discovery, I specify the subnet. Yeah. So I just say, okay, all computers into this subnet. I provide some credentials, yeah, to allow discovery. So I could use just Linux credentials as I'm doing. Not always the best way here, but you can also use keys. Yeah. So I just specified that it can automatically elevate, but we can also use private keys. Yeah. We can have some filters by OS, by application. So whatever you want, if there is only specific distros that you would like to back up. So maybe you have multiple ones and some of them are for testing only, but in production you're only using Red Hat, for example, then you specify it if you want. Yeah. Email notifications, that's pretty clear. And then the backup agent deployment. So how do we want to proceed from here once the agent is discovered or the machine is discovered better? Do we just discover it and show it in the Service Provider Console, or do we automatically push a policy to it? Yeah, so meaning a policy, a backup, job, settings, let's say. Yeah, so we could say, okay, we push the Linux workstation or the Linux server there, or no policy at all. Just maybe install the agent, but don't assign any policy. If you want to have full control, you could say, okay, just discover them and then I will decide myself. But then, of course, you have to keep track on everything that is, if new computers pop up, you need to make sure that you add them to a backup job. Yeah, so this kind of makes your life easier. And the schedule, I guess that's a no-brainer. Yeah. So this is the schedule not of the job, right? This is the schedule of this discovery rule that will run every hour or once a day, or depending on how often that you add stuff yourself. Yeah. So we see here again our computer here. Yeah, some other options here. we could say, again, change the auto deployment for Windows, Linux, and Mac. Yeah? The cool thing is that if I, for example, say, okay, let me just push automatically when the servers are discovered, I want to push this Linux server policy, but I also immediately want to read-only access in the UI of Veeam, because maybe the client is managing the server themselves. You never know, and you're just providing the backup services, but you don't want that that person goes in there and deletes the backup job, changes the configuration, because then we have an SLA problem, right? Because yeah, some things were not backed up maybe, and whose fault is it now? So we could switch it to read only, and then there is no discussion. Yeah, so don't forget that you can set that on. So from the discovered backup agents, we can see the Windows, Linux, and Mac if you have those. So for Linux here, I can then switch the agent to managed mode. By default, they will come in as unmanaged, which means that full admin, I can set up the agent individually myself. Switch to managed mode. From the second that you start managing it, it means that it will become connected exclusively to the service provider console. It will also receive a license from the service provider console. Yeah, so if I then open the console here, or better via command line, the UI, let's say, and I check the license, it will say the license source is the backup portal. Yeah, so which is the service provider console. I can manually install something, remove maybe, but it's actually pushed from there. So you don't have to go to each client and manually install something. Yeah, it's done automatic. So that is easy stuff. And from here, we can also then install the agent. We can also update the agent. Yeah. So for example, here you can see update available. This agent is still running on version 4. So I could go to that machine, or I could just be very lazy and just go here and say update. Yeah, and it will send the command to the server to fetch the updated package from the Veeam servers. So it's not that you have to push it over the internet, to just download it from the Veeam servers using the internet locally at the client and install it. Yeah. Another cool thing is patch. Yeah, so imagine something went wrong, you received a hotfix from Veeam, yeah, or a small patch to fix a certain problem with an agent. Then you could use this option to patch that specific system. So I could just click on patch, specify the zip file, right, or the executable here, and I could just apply it to this machine. Yeah, so can be done all remotely. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. All right. So also under the configuration, yeah, so you can find here the backup policies. Yeah, so we have added, well, the policies for Windows, they were already here. We also added policies for Linux, yeah, server and workstation, and for Mac also server and workstation. So these are all, as you could see, they were predefined. Yeah, but this means you could have them public. So you could set one policy and use them for all the clients, but your clients or your resellers might be able to also create their own policy. Yeah, public one means that every client connected to the service provider console will see it. If it's private, it means that only the organization, and it's actually written right here, created by client, and my name of the client is client, very original, I know. But then only that specific client will see the policy. Yeah? And here it's where you configure all the job settings. Yeah? So the operation mode, it should be a server or a workstation. Depending on what you set here, the appropriate license will be pushed. Yeah, because this has an impact on how many points you need to report in the end for the agent. So this can be pushed from there. You specify the backup mode, you specify the destination. Should it go to a local repository? Should it go to a Cloud Connect repository, etc., etc. Once you make some changes, it will ask you, hey, do you want to propagate these changes to the agents that are using this one already so that it becomes immediately active? Then you can click here on propagate changes, and it will say, okay, updating, and it will start pushing the policy to these machines. Yeah. So let me think. Yes, I think in regards to the agent, I showed everything more or less. Of course, when you go here to the backup jobs, that's where you will see managed by console, managed by backup server. Yeah, might be some confusing here. What means what? So managed by console means managed by this Veeam Service Provider Console directly. Managed by backup server means the client has a local Veeam backup and replication, which is maybe backing up their VMware, Hyper-V, Nutanix, Windows, Linux agents, yeah, and it's managed by that server there locally. So you will not be able to manage it from here, but you will be able to see the jobs and see if the jobs are running, what mode it's running, and don't forget that here you can always see what type of OS it is or location or site. You can get some more information. Yeah, managed by console means 100% managed here. Then I can set all the settings. I can create additional jobs because don't forget, you can create more than one job. You could create a job that backs up locally. You could create a job that also backs up offsite to a Cloud Connect. Yeah, so they have two copies basically. Again, here can switch the UI mode, read only, full access. Yeah, and here under some settings, there is also this option: allow file level recovery without administrative account. This was introduced, I believe, in version 4 already, but just I mention it one more time because this means that you allow the client to do the file level recovery on their own desktop or laptop without having the pop-up from the UAC that you need to put in the administrator account to access this. Yeah, so this is how you can actually set this. Yeah. So, and if we then from here, for example, we see our machine here, I could start the job, stop the job, download the log files. So if I say, okay, I am starting this job now, then if everything goes well, you see on the agent, it starts running. So this is the one that I just clicked on and it will start backing up. So it works, right, as you can see. So it will start creating the snapshot, sending the backups directly to Cloud Connect or the repository that you have specified. So that was pretty cool already. So what else do we have? Management of cloud native plugins. Yes. So AWS and Azure. Yeah. When we mentioned plugins, Maxime before mentioned also some other plugins, which he meant also the plugin library, which is located here in the configuration. So this is where you connect to ConnectWise Manage, ConnectWise Automate, or plug into Grafana Labs. So basically for ConnectWise, it means if you're running ConnectWise, then you can pull in the information there, right? So when we're talking about the other plugins, it means the public cloud plugins, for Azure and for AWS. Yeah. So if we open the Veeam console itself, then you know that today you can add here the Veeam backup for AWS. You can do the Veeam backup for Azure. Yeah. So that will also reflect in the UI. What I see here connected to my Veeam backup and replication server. So this is AWS and Azure. Yeah, I see these jobs here. Well, now if I go here to public, to backup jobs, virtual machines, public cloud, I will also see those virtual machines there. Yeah? So I can see all the 4 virtual machines I have in my case, and I can see that it's Amazon Web Services and Azure from here. Yeah, today I cannot manage these from here, but at least I can see that they are there. Yeah, and I need to go to the respective backup server to go and manage them. Yeah. Also, something new is here is the dashboard itself. Yeah. So before we had, of course, the overview where you could see what jobs have filled and were working. So here you have a dashboard. Yeah? So as you can see, in the weekend, no jobs are running. That's why everything is red. But here you can immediately see on the calendar view the last 30 days or the current month. So if any of these jobs have filled, I can show all of the jobs that have been running, but I'm interested maybe only in the filled ones. So from here, I can very easily troubleshoot. Yeah. So it means that if you, as a service desk, yeah, you're managing all these clients, then it's very easy for you to go to, okay, so today we are 13. Let's go to today's date. What job has failed? Okay, something was wrong here. Okay, some cloud gateway issue. So we need to go and check that one. Yeah. So there we go. So we can also see the clouds, the client's infrastructure. Yeah. So, and we can see the cloud connect infrastructure. So this already existed before. We just revamped a bit the job overview into a calendar, makes it look much nicer in the end. Yeah. Then the next thing is visibility into the cloud storage consumption. Yeah. So before it was pretty difficult when you had, for example, the insider protection, which we call just the recycle bin in Cloud Connect. How would you bill your clients for this? Yeah, because you said that you keep the backups for X amount of days, but you do not see this anywhere. You need to manually maybe write a script to go and calculate this the storage usage. Well, now you can do it in the subscription plan. So here in the subscription plan, and you go to Cloud Backup. So there we already had these fields for VM server workstations. We also have advanced fields now. So, and in these advanced fields, I could charge my client for the allocated space. So for he has a quota of 10 terabytes, he's going to pay for 10 terabytes no matter whether they use it or not. Or they pay for the consumed space, or more granular per tier, because let's say I am a service provider and I am offloading backups also to S3 and then to Glacier, yeah, or I'm moving them to Azure Blob and then to Azure Archive. I can put a different price here. Yes, I could say, okay, performance here 16 cents, then 12 cents, and 6 cents, whatever you want to put here. Yeah. The same goes for the recycle bin. So the recycle bin will stay on your performance tier. So maybe you want to put the same price there. Anyway, this is completely up to you, but at least you can set an amount. Yeah. So finally, you are able to collect this this information. Yeah, so where can we get this information out? Yeah, of course, APIs. Yeah, but through the UI. We can find it here under the invoice. I can generate a quota usage. So this report will calculate the usage. Yeah. So I've already created the report here. So let me just open it. So if we have a look here, then the report. Yeah. So this is the report that that comes out. It shows that it's for this client. This is the reseller name, actually. It could be you as a service provider if you don't use any resellers. It shows you all the services that you are offering, how many VMs that there were per day, how many servers, how many workstations. You can see you can get quite some info. Yeah? Also the file share backups, the NAS backup, right? Some extra charges that come on top because it's a Windows server or a Linux server. You can charge for OS differently. And then at the end, we come here to the consumed space. Yeah? So we see that VM servers workstation take up this amount, but what we're actually interested in is how much per tier. And so we can see we have X gigabytes or terabytes on local storage in my scale out repository, and then I have X amount in my capacity tier. Yeah, and I have the same for my deleted backups recycle bin, so the insider protection. Yeah, and if you then run the invoice itself. Of course, on the invoice, there we will use the price calculation. Yeah, this is just pure for reporting on the quota, for example. Yeah. So this is pretty good stuff. So I hope that now more service providers will start using the insider protection, because it's still really a good service to your clients against ransomware. It's very low effort. You don't need to have any specific storage or so, right? Or object storage. This just works with what you already have. Yeah. So then next thing is, well, the multi-factor authentication, also not unimportant probably. Now for the users, you could say, okay, all the administrators who log into the portal, or all the resellers that log into the portal, we want to enforce MFA, for example. So when our service desk logs in, when a client logs in, especially when a client logs in from the public internet, you don't want that this client is going to connect to just username and password, right? So under the profile, that's where you can set multi-factor authentication. So just enable it on a user base, right? The user can do it themselves, generate the QR code, you scan this code, type in the code, and you're good to go. Yeah. So how this works? Well, this works super easy. So if I just log out for a second, log in with the client where I have enabled it, say it will ask me for the MFA code, and there we go. I just filled it in automatically, super convenient. And now as a client, I can see everything here. Yeah. All right, let's jump back to the administration for a second. Also, one thing, you've seen this from the start, right? You see patch 2 is now available. Yeah, on purpose, I let this on the screen so that you see that now we're also showing the new version up here. So you can click on the link to the KB article, and then you can immediately see what is new, download it, and install it. Yeah. Otherwise, under the support information here, we also check for updates, and well, there it also mentions this. Yeah. Also, in regards to the API, because in the end, if you want to automate a lot of things, and I see somebody writing in the chat, yes, indeed, API version 2, yeah, and version 3, exactly. So in Service Provider Console version 4, we had the production API was version 2. That was the one, let's say, that everybody was using, and version 3 was more as a preview, experimental, because it contained some new things, especially on the licensing side. Yeah? If you wanted to report on plugins, for example, like plugin for Oracle, SAP, those items, they were only in that version 3 API. Yeah? So if you have a look at the API, so this is the version 2 API, and this is the version 3, and it's already 3.1 API. Yeah? So here you can also play. So if you want to know what you can get out, but we have really a lot of things now when it comes to licensing, and of course all the other stuff, protecting the workloads, configuration, management agents, etc. But a lot of partners are using this for the licensing part, and you can see that we added quite plenty. Yeah. So you could see the licensing for the console in total. You can see it per companies, for all the companies, for a backup server. Yeah. So there is really a lot of information that you can get out of here. Yeah. So everything is written here in the REST API reference. So you could see that this was version 2 and this is version 3. So indeed, version 3 is now production ready. Yeah. And we also have a reference which shows you much more information. Yeah. So if you then want to see what is going on, or what is, let's say, what you're going to get out of this API, then you could just select something and say, okay, show me, I want to get site license by a company. How does it look like? I can click, and this is how it would potentially show in the API. So I would see, okay, there's Cloud Connect workstation backups in points, and it would say, okay, there's 3 of them. Yeah, and the new ones, they are the ones that were already there. So you could use this for your billing. Yeah, so all of the products which are licensed are available in here. Yeah, again, many of you are using this screen today where you can just see everything that comes in. Yeah, but of course you cannot just go and look around here and see, okay, this client has X amount of agents and do all of this stuff manually. So this is where the API comes in really handy, and you can automate everything with it. Yeah, so this is really a enormous improvement, let's say, when it comes to the API, that before we just gave some examples like this is this call, and yeah, there you go. Now you can really see all of the parameters here, the responses that should be received, but also all the details here. Right? So it's much more clear, yeah, especially when you're starting with this information. Yeah, and then as a last thing, what I also wanted to show is we have added some notifications, and there's one notification in particular that maybe you have already seen. Yeah? Once you upgrade, then you might start seeing this, and it's regarding the licensing. So there is this new notification which pops up, and maybe some of you will be or are already confused by it. What it means? It means that we detect that the license key with the same ID has been detected on multiple servers, which is perfectly normal, because in the good old days, we said, hey, you can cut a shared key and install that one at all of your clients. I have 100 clients, and I cut a key of, I don't know, 100 instances. I go and install with that key everywhere. Yeah. So now we are more switching, yeah, in combination with Veeam Pulse, yeah, the platform for reporting. We're more switching into, we want to give better insights into the reporting and what is what, and for you, for us, for the distributor. So now it says, okay, every server should have a unique license key. Does it mean that when you see this, that you're doing something illegal? No, absolutely not. Yeah, so this is just a change. This is a process ongoing, so don't worry. You could just go to Veeam Pulse, generate a new key, and assign it to the server, and the error will go away. Yeah, it's not something you have to do today or tomorrow. Yeah, so if you have more questions on this, talk to your sales rep, and they will explain you what is actually the point here. But in the end, what we want is that every installation just gets its own ID. Yeah, and it doesn't change anything in regards to the functionality. Yeah, there is also a KB article. Yeah, so functionality is not affected if you change the keys. This is just more of a reporting thing. Yeah, just so that you are aware of it once you upgrade and you start seeing this notification. That is not that you did anything wrong here. All right. So then we are finished with, let's say, the what's new, or let's say with the demo better. So let's quickly go back to the slide deck and quickly recap. So all the features that we have talked about, again, the top features is the enhanced management for Veeam Agents, so Linux and Mac. You can now also see backups of AWS and Azure, yeah, the insider protection, all the different tiers, archive tier, capacity tier, MFA, much better APIs, and also much better documentation of the APIs. Again, service provider, it's really the tool for you as a service provider. It's a free tool, yeah. So It just costs you some resources to deploy it, and you will get so much information out of it. One of them is the simplified licensing and enhanced reporting. So at some point, this will maybe all go automatically, and then if you have this already in place, it will make everything easier. And again, if you automate a lot of things like the reporting, the licensing, the billing for your clients, this is the portal that you should be talking to. You should be talking to these APIs, get all your information from one aggregated interface. You don't have to keep talking to every individual installation, as I see sometimes in the field that partners have deployed some PowerShell script on every client's server. It drops some file, and then they go and collect this information once a month. Don't waste your time on this anymore. Just talk to this one. So how to get started? For the 44% who is not doing anything yet. So if you're not yet in the service provider program, apply for it, get your key. And this key is also the same key as for Veeam Cloud Connect. So just so that you know, and then you can start immediately. Next to that, upgrade. Can't say this enough. If you want to use all this functionality, upgrade to version 5. Now, Service Provider Console version 5 can also still work with version 10 of Veeam Backup and Replication. So it can read both. So it's not that you have to upgrade the other one also immediately. In the notes, I've also included a link to the VBR patches, because we have released already some patches for version 11. And also, when you upgrade the Service Provider Console, please check the upgrade path. I've had several providers trying to put version 5 over Availability Console version 3. Didn't work out. You need to go first from 3 to 4, from 4 to 5. Or if you haven't really done anything special in there, just deploy 5 and let it pull all the data again from your Cloud Connect infrastructure. All right. So if you have any other questions, then I can see that our colleague Ivan has answered most of the questions. So we will stick around for a couple of more minutes to see and if any other questions we could answer. Presentation and recording will arrive in a couple of days in your mailbox. It will also appear on the website where you registered. And of course, for any licensing or sales question, you could talk to your local rep or send an email to hosting.emea@veeam.com. All right. Thanks, everybody. So that's the end of our session here. So we hope that this was useful. If you have any questions, let us know. So now is the time, I would say. Now, I see, for example, somebody asked, can you adopt agents that were previously installed manually? Sure. If we detect them, then and they end up in the discovery rule, you can just switch them to managed mode, and from then on, you can start managing them from here. But you need to see them, right? So you need to have a management agent in place, or on the machine, or in the network, to be able to find them. So.
Peter, there is an interesting question from Kevin. Can you show us the license reporting available in VSPC?
The license reporting. Oh, the report, you mean?
Yeah. And there is one more question, which I will reply. Is there any timeline for when Veeam Backup for Office 365 will be available for Service Provider Console? It's the most expected feature. There is no timeline yet, but I think we can say that we are working on it. So it's the very useful use case.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, in the meantime, somebody also asks if we're upgrading from version 4 to 5. Should we upgrade, or will there be more patches? Well, patches might always come, right? Patches might not only be to fix bugs, but can also bring new functionality. But absolutely, if there is any of the new functionality that you would like to use, then you should upgrade, right? And you don't have to install all the patches immediately. If you say in the release note that it does not really apply to you, then you don't need to keep upgrading, right? Some people just patch every patch they see, but if it has no impact on you, then you should not maybe. So was it this report maybe that I wanted to see? So this is the report that comes out today, for example, the one for March. It will generate all the products, the workstation, licenses, what's new, and in the end, the amount of points that needs to be reported. Yeah? So, and if later on there will be a connection with Veeam Pulse, then this information will already be in Pulse, and all you have to do is go and approve it there, and that's it. So no need for you to do this manually anymore. You could also see here per companies. So you can see the managed companies that you have. So I've added my own hosting infrastructure, have a reseller that uses X amount of points. And then, of course, the clients managed by the reseller are put in this amount. Per reseller, I can see what they are managing, the agent edition, used points, product. So this is what comes out once a month. So I hope that answers the question.
A small point from my side, if I can add, Peter, yeah?
Of course.
So I didn't manage to answer all of the questions, so no worry, guys, don't worry.
Thank you.
We'll cover them, in the follow-up, those which I have missed. So just it's only me, and it's quite a lot of questions this time.
yeah, it's a very
for the interest.
Audience. Absolutely, lots of great questions. So, well, let's wrap it up here then. And as Ivan said, we will come back to you with a recording, with the slides, and with an answer to all of the questions asked here today. Again, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the day, and hopefully see you next month in the next webinar. Thank you. See you.
Thank you. Bye.